Hey everyone, it's Jean-Claude here at BeyondMystic. Thank you for joining me on this special live update for the Siege of Ottawa. Today is Sunday, February 20th. It is 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Welcome everyone. I'll wait a little bit here to see if we can get more people in the live stream. Give me a 5x5 if you can hear me okay. We are still having some issues with bandwidth here in Ottawa. I'll get into the reporter stories here in a second here, but yeah, there's some issues reporting from Ottawa right now at many levels. Okay, so 5x5. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I guess we can start there. I saw a post earlier. I put it on my Twitter. This was from Rebel News, and apparently now they're not allowed to be walking down the street and filming. So if you go check my Twitter right now, you'll see this video that I just put up, even though she has Parliament independent media accreditation. The cops refuse to recognize that. So I see right here below my hotel right now, Global News is allowed to walk free in rain and share their versions of the fact, but the independent media apparently are not recognized by Ottawa police. So a little bit scary here on Sunday that freedom of press has also been suspended. Well, of course, if you're not state-sponsored media, your rights have been suspended as well here in the red zone. Now, what's happening in the red zone right now since this morning and since last night? Late last night, I was filming all of these little clips here. Not sure what I'm going to do with the footage yet, but essentially trucks after trucks after trucks were coming into Ottawa, flatbeds filled with these 10 and 12 feet high fencing. And so there's more and more fence now being put up around Ottawa. If you look at my Twitter page from earlier this morning, I believe it was Graham Richardson from CTV News, who was also kind of perplexed at all of this new fencing in Ottawa. So police seem to be expecting something else here. Now, if you look at some of the articles in Zero Hedge, they're saying that, or it was National News Post this morning, they said they're adding fencing here just to make sure that the protesters don't return and that they can continue to hold the ground that they've recaptured here. But it very much feels like they're here to stay. So there's two theories on that. So something's going on also today. So if you can see just above my finger here, if you zoom in, there's a bunch of civilian buses that are arriving, and there's more right here, right there. And they keep coming into the downtown core, and they're all filling Wellington Street. So these are tourist buses, 417 bus lines, local bus companies. They're not bringing in troops. They seem to be empty and all parked there around Centertown. So why they need all those buses downtown right now, have no idea. Because again, Ottawa right now basically is a dead city. There's no traffic. Everything's locked off still. It's still a quarantine area. And the only people walking on the streets are people who actually live in the downtown core apartments just above here. But apart from that, nobody's been let in here unless you have an official exemption from the government as it pertains to this Securities Act. So weird stuff going on. Now, if you pay attention to this corner right here, this is the Chateau Laurier. Yesterday, what was interesting was somebody screenshotted a group chat from the police headquarters and command at the Chateau Laurier. And so these were cops having meals and having a jolly old time, talking about their overtime they were making, how much money they were making. They were also laughing about practicing maneuvers with their horses, and you'll know why they're talking about that. So bad optics for sure. I think one mainstream media came out yesterday and said that those reports were false, although there are screenshots with a bunch of names and a bunch of police officers and pictures, in fact, from the Chateau Laurier ballroom. I've been in there before, and I recognize the area for sure. And I know for a fact, just watching this here for the last couple of days, all of the main police forces and paramilitary forces are entering and staging at the Chateau Laurier. So that's interesting. So there's two strands of thought here today. We're wondering what's happening. Why is there more cops? Because even this morning, a lot of busloads, not those buses, but military buses and police buses bringing troops in, fresh new troops in addition to what's already there in Ottawa, the number seems to be increasing right now. So people are asking, well, why is that? They seem to have been victorious, at least that's what the mainstream media are telling us. And we're wondering why the fences continue to go up, and why, apparently, from the look of things, why the effectives or the number of police forces also seems to be increasing. So some are suggesting that perhaps tomorrow, or now Tuesday night, the vote on the Emergencies Act could revoke the act. And if that is the case, then we could expect to see a lot of Canadians back here peacefully protesting, maybe as soon as Tuesday or Wednesday morning. And perhaps this is why the cops are not leaving right now, and they're continuing to bring up all of these additional fences. Now, what was interesting in Alberta today too, more protesters over there, and Alberta itself, and I'm not going to hold my breath on this, is also suggesting that they would launch a court challenge to the Ottawa Emergencies Act. So this is a province now challenging the use of the act by Justin Trudeau. We might see more provinces jump into that, but at the very least, in the meantime, this is what's happening, regardless of the legalities of the invocation of the act. So that's one scenario. They might lose the legal framework for supporting the act on Tuesday, and that's why the cops are still here, because they're expecting more Canadians to say, haha, we told you we're allowed to be here. Because here's the thing too, in yesterday's press conference from the organizers of the trucker convoy, the Freedom Convoy, again, they reiterated that a judge had told them last week that they were in fact allowed to be there and to protest, and that parking tickets did not nullify their right to protest this government under the Charter of Rights. And this is why the cops had to return the gasoline tanks the next day, etc., etc. So when the folks on Parliament Hill are telling you this is an illegal occupation, they're not mentioning to you that there's already a judge here, a sitting judge a week ago, who said that no, they were absolutely within their rights to protest on Parliament Hill, or at the very least to parlay on Parliament Hill. But of course, the government does not recognize that so far. So they might be heading into this legal battle, which would presumably explain why they know and why they're setting up even more fencing and more cops here in Ottawa. So that's scenario number one. Scenario number two is a little bit harder to explain here without getting into some difficult language from YouTube. But we're getting reports of two things. One, in Northern Ontario, there's a couple of airports right now who apparently have UN designated planes on the tarmac. And so either those people are already here, but they flew into Northern Ontario, none of the local airports down here as to not be seen. And then they probably took shuttle planes from Northern Ontario to here, Ottawa, to fill in the gaps here of these troops. So it is possible that we have foreigners now helping the police forces, or maybe those aren't reinforcements that we have yet to see here on the ground in Ottawa. So we'll see. Now, that's scenario number two there. It could very well be that the government is attempting, or somebody's attempting here, to create an event that would be made under the flag of somebody else. I guess that's the way I can say it, in order to justify the vote in the House and say, aha, you see, we told you these people were violent, and they've created this event in Ottawa, and our thoughts and our police forces were absolutely justified. Look at all the horrible things these people have done. So the mainstream media would, of course, reinforce that message, even though for the last 3 weeks, there's been absolutely no violence in Ottawa from the actual Freedom Convoy protesters and the Canadians that were supporting them. So if there's new people in town pretending to be protesters today or tomorrow, and creating ruckus and breaking windows and all that, we'll understand here the bigger picture in terms of the flag I'm talking about. So again, just on that note, and for the algos, the flag, apparently the Canadian flag now is a hate symbol. So, and it's a far right movement, and it's also a mean ideology to talk about freedom, apparently. So these are all the words that are being used by mainstream news. Absolutely incredible. Okay, so I think that's it for me today. So those two scenarios: one, they might lose on a legal standpoint, and they know that maybe we'll see Canadians en masse reassembling here in Ottawa very soon, or two, they're preparing this event in order to justify the further lockdown of Ottawa, because right now it's locking down even further. So we'll see. Time will tell here in the next couple of days. Now, there's other things happening. Last night I did a show with JANINE. Truth Social is coming up online on Apple. This was announced on Reuters yesterday. That'll be live tomorrow, I believe, or at the very least on Tuesday. And it could very well be that more very damaging information hits the airwaves. And if that's the case, we could see even more protests break out. Because here in Canada, there's protests in Calgary, in Montreal, in Quebec City. That hasn't stopped, even though here in Ottawa, things appear to be, for now, under the control of our police forces. So it remains to be seen here. Now, it is an eerie scene in Ottawa this morning, I have to admit. The cops are not too pleasant. And if you look at that clip with Rebel News, again, civil liberties have been suspended, and also free press. And that's very scary indeed, because if the free independent press is not there, then we'll only have the vision of our mainstream news, our state-sponsored mainstream news, telling us about what events could unfold today or tomorrow. And that is unfortunate, because for the last 3 weeks, what was really helpful to the freedom movement was the fact that everybody and their dog were filming at the same time. So it was very hard for the government to maintain this ludicrous idea of all the bad words for these people when they're kneeling, they're hugging cops, they're giving flowers to cops, they're singing "I love you," while the cops are responding with flashbang grenades. So very hard to go around that fact. And of course, the mainstream media and now the police are reinforcing the mainstream media view, and they said that they're going to crack down on alternative media. That was in the press conference from the new interim police chief yesterday. So lots going on. So guys, if you have any questions, put them in the live chat. I'll see if I can bring them up here and spend a little bit of time with you guys. Kerry, Biden says he's calling for Emergency Act 2, scared of citizens. Yeah, join us tonight with Jason 4, Richard, Woo Woo Dude, Janine, and myself. This is going to be at 8 o'clock Eastern. We are going to be looking at the woo-woo stuff here coming out of the United States. So to the point there on the screen, we'll be talking about that. And we're talking also about this truth media and what's happening also with the companies that have produced these products, these injectables over the last 2 years, and perhaps some of the extremely dangerous information or detrimental information coming out that could cause quite a bit of anger around the world. So we'll see. JC is the best news source to get us updated on Canada. Thanks, JC. Hey, thanks, Carlos. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. How are you feeling? How are you, KLB? How am I feeling? Well, I feel the weight of responsibility as a father, I guess, first and foremost. I'm looking at all of this and I just can't believe my eyes. And regardless of, now, obviously, if you've listened to me, you know that I was ideologically, or my ideology is aligned with freedom and freedom of speech and freedom of expression and you know, going against censorship, all of these things. So you know how I feel. And I never in my life I thought that we would be here in Canada so far away from those basic human rights. I never believe it. And so when I think of my kids, it breaks my heart, because if this is not stopped now, what kind of childhood is in front of them? And they've already had 2 years of absolute prison, you know. And my friend, one of my best friends, is a school principal, and he's telling me that, like, never. Sorry, I'm still a little bit more emotional. He's been this his whole career, and he's never seen so many kids with PTSD and high level of anxiety. They've hired all of these shrinks in the school system to deal with all of these kids who are exhibiting, again, high anxiety and PTSD. And so how am I feeling? My heart is heavy because of that. And just as a father, never mind my work here on YouTube and the community that I'm driving here. But first and foremost for the kids, it's hard to explain, basically. Sounds like you're going to cry, JC. Yeah, yeah. It's when you get me again. I was listening to the press conference from one of the organizers of the Freedom Convoy yesterday too, and he was talking as a father too. Before anything else, I mean, if you guys have kids and you know, we all want the same thing for our kids. We want them to be happy. We want them to be safe. We want them to grow up and have all the opportunities that we had and even more. Right? That's what we want as parents. And right now, the likelihood of that, with everything that's going on, at least in appearance, what's going on, it's difficult for parents to hold, I guess, in terms of frequency. And so that's how I'm feeling. Now, how am I feeling about Ottawa? It's a weird day. The energy is weird. Last night, it was good. So, okay, so let's backtrack. Yesterday afternoon, it was weird. A lot of people felt a little bit deflated, gun punched. And then as we took stock, we realized, wait a second, we might have actually won this. So it's not because the trucks were being removed from downtown that the point hadn't been made and that a huge awakening had not in fact happened yesterday. And I think that's what's the sentiment now. And there's quite a few people in the chat yesterday that were saying the mood has changed now where people are no longer afraid. They're no longer afraid of the oppressive government. They're no longer afraid of the police. And that spells a lot of difficulty here for the powers that be moving forward. And so if this freedom convoy has in fact reached one of those goals of removing everybody from the fear frequency, that is very empowering for humanity. So I feel encouraged about that. And so by the end of the afternoon yesterday and into the evening, I did feel better. And again, all through the night, there were fireworks and people screaming freedom and chanting, and that was absolutely beautiful. It felt more like a victory than a defeat. Today, the energy downtown is very militaristic, militarized zone. It feels a little bit eerie. And the planning and all the new cops coming in, all the new fences, all of these buses arriving, only one can guess right now as to what's being planned, and that feels a little bit uneasy. So I guess that's the answer to how I feel. Alba, thank you, JC. Oops, just lost it on the screen. Do you see an exodus of Canadians out of Canada? No. A few people are thinking like that, but at the same time, I think the next couple of days are going to be revelatory, and they're going to change a lot of minds. And people are going to realize that they're here to rebuild the new. And if you've been following Cliff High's work also, he was talking about perhaps a newly constituted Canada sometime around the Ides of March, so 13th, 14th, 15th of March. And so if that's the case, all those people who want to leave Canada are going to realize that that could be a mistake, that they actually have an opportunity to rebuild the Canada that we want for our kids. At least that's what I'm feeling right now for myself. And I hope that a lot of other Canadians who feel the call of duty and who feel the call to action will remember that perhaps that was their mission in the first place, to rebuild. Q, question, what is going to take for this to come to an end? What's it going to take for this to come to an end? Well, there's a legal challenge, and there's a reference to the Supreme Court that the Freedom Convoy was talking about yesterday, and there's also the provincial challenges now to the Emergencies Act. But I don't think that's what's going to bring it to an end. I think that is just, in some cases, political grandstanding from the provinces, from the Freedom Convoy itself. Very hard to fight the government when they're using your money and freezing your bank accounts while they have all the money in the world to fight back in the court system. So I don't think this is going to be one in the courts. It's going to be one in public opinion. And if you look at the news around the world, a lot of dictators around the world are looking at Justin Trudeau right now and laughing. So there's that. And this is why also it appears that the police forces here are clamping down on alternative media. They need to seize control of the message. And right now they've lost control of that message. And even though the sponsored media wants to repeat that these people were angry, terrorists, racists, misogynists, all these words. I don't think anybody around the world who's seen all of the footage believed that. Now, people like myself, Viva Frey, Zot here in Ottawa, I can name 1,000. They were all showing a stark opposition to what the mainstream media was showing on TV. So that footage is out there. It's all on the web. We've done our job to document the bouncy castles, the hugs, the smiles, the dance parties, the hot tubs. We've documented that. We've documented that video where people are saying "we love you" to police officers, and the officers responding with flashbang grenades yesterday. So how does this end? It ends with higher and higher degrees of people waking up and deciding that together, in a peaceful way, they would have mass non-compliance. That's where that ends. So that means that each and every one of you watching the show, your kids, your friends, your families, all have to come to that page and say "this far, no further." That's where that ends. It ends where we decide it ends, and that there's enough of us to make that happen. And I believe we're very close to those numbers now, because again, if there was 2.2 million people, and I say if, and it's not an if, I was there and I've been there at Canada Day, like all my life, I've been here for Canada Day. And I know what it feels like to be in a crowd of 1 million people. And last Saturday, it was 2.2 million. So 2.2 million people were here saying "this far, no further" last weekend in minus 30 temperatures. So imagine if it was July at plus 20 or plus 30, how many millions would have been here on Canada Day or for these protests? That's what I mean. The numbers are a lot bigger than the mainstream media, of course, is trying to portray. So even though the pollsters, again, the paid pollsters are telling us that the majority of Canadians agree with the removals, we can see that that is also not the case. Kind of lost a little bit of my screen here. Let's see if I can. Not sure what's happening. Can you guys still hear me okay? For some reason, my screen just went dark. Not sure what happened. Wow. That's a big crowd, JC. Claudette Leblanc. Yeah, exactly. And Claudette, just so you know, let me see if I can bring that on screen. Whoop. Sorry, I was going too fast, guys. So Claudette was saying, yeah, that's a big crowd. And, you know, I'm taking that from the RCMP. This was the RCMP a couple of weeks ago in their analysis and their security protocols. They go by the numbers. So judging on the crowd size, they have a set of procedures in order to respond to that crowd. Barriers, ambulances, communication stations, evacuation routes, fire routes, all of these things are triggered just for everybody's protection. So let's just talk about Canada Day. So there's a mechanism by which they determine how many contingency forces and paramedics and all these things need to happen to keep everybody safe in these large crowds. And so they were responding. The RCMP was talking about the 2.2 million. And while they were doing that, during Canada Day, of course, the mainstream media would repeat the numbers quoted by the RCMP's tactical reports with no problem. But during the protests, instead of taking the RCMP documentations at face value, they said that there were a few thousand people on the hill. So that's the mainstream media telling you that. And if you've seen any of the footages in the last couple of weekends, you know that what 1,000 people looks like versus 1 million people, there's a big difference. And same thing with the number of trucks on the convoy. With the OPP and the police had estimated the number of trucks, and it was much higher than what the mainstream media was reporting. So anyways, JC, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you. I didn't read that fast enough. Nathalie, do you know where the police force is in black who do not speak English or French? Do you know why? I did not get to talk to police officers that didn't speak French or English. So I don't know that to be a fact myself. What I can report on is every officer I spoke to, and I was pretending to ask for directions. And just to get to talk to them in a polite, non-offensive way. And they all responded to me, "I don't know, sir, I'm not from around here." So I of course know where I'm going. I know Ottawa from the back of my hand. But these people did not know Ottawa. So I know, in fact, there's imported people from other jurisdictions here in Canada, but everybody spoke to me in English. So I didn't have the opportunity to see people who didn't even speak our language. Is that possible? Maybe. That remains to be seen. And I'm still looking for either pictures or footage. And I know somebody filmed something with the UN planes this morning. I'm looking for that clip now. If you guys have it, put it in the chat now. I'll try to find it and bring it up to the live stream tonight with Richard, Janine, Woo Woo Dude, Joe, and Janine and myself. That's going to be at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight. So you don't want to miss that, Joe. I'll try to bring up all of that footage for you guys as well. There is a video that shows UN's planes parked in North Bay. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So something, okay, so Astro Sam, if you have a link of that video, try to put that in the screen or tell us where to find that with the exact title of that article so we can find that, because if you don't have a wrench, I don't think you'll be able to post a link in the live chat here. But anyways, moderators, if you can figure that out, that'd be great. Planes on Cliff Twitter. Okay. Eric Prudhomme says, oops, sorry. Again, really fast here on this one here. Eric Prudhomme, planes on Cliff's Twitter. Okay, so I'll look at Cliff's Twitter later. I'll try to see that that clip and I'll bring it up for you guys. Okay, let me see if I can find questions here. The UK is sick. Yes, Kathy. Okay, so I'm going into some of these starred comments here. Yes, I saw that thing, and you know, in the last couple of weeks, Janine and I were reporting that we were getting closer and closer to this London Bridge code. London Bridge has fallen code, and we'll get into that a little bit later tonight. So something interesting there. Again, they continue to drip feed us that there's something wrong with the Queen. JC is a truth warrior. Stay safe. Thank you, J. Floyd. Appreciate that. Been spot on with everything. Joe Tam, thank you. JC. Man, it's hard to read. What if the white hats opt to protect the citizen and take down the building they're being used for bad things? Well, that's scenario number 3. So I said earlier this morning, either the government knows they're going to lose the legal challenge and that people would come back en masse to protest in front for their rights, or 2, they're trying to organize a specific event to paint in a very dark corner the Canadian freedom fighters in order to justify even more totalitarianism. Or 3, what Catherine is proposing here could be that this is a white hat to actually extricate a lot of the bad people in these buildings here and what's happening underground here and underground there. I might do a Rumble show or a pay-per-view show to get into details on that one. That would be hard to talk about here. But yeah, that is an option. Okay. I think that's it for the questions there. So let me go back to the live. Go to the bottom here. So sorry, Vancouver. We tried to warn you. I'm sure that one was. So I'm looking for more questions, guys. And what else do I have for you? JC was thinking on 107, said, we're going to feel an almost dead experience. Yeah, we've been saying that for a while. And he's been bringing up dates for a long time too. So at a certain point, you got to take some and leave some with a lot of that narrative. Now, on top of what Juan was saying, there was Blossom Goodchild. Recently, Jenny and I did a reading on this that was proposing that we could have another world lockdown with another version of a product or a problem. And that one would be in order to clean up the rest of the bad guys. Could be. Could be. I always have trouble with that narrative. Not that it's not true or that it can't be true, but I always fear any narrative that brings me in the frequency, oh, don't worry, this is going to happen and somebody else is cleaning up the mess and we don't have to do anything. I don't think that's the route. Somebody asked me earlier in the show, how does this end? It ends with everybody saying it ends now, this far no further, the mass civil and respectful and peaceful non-compliance. That's where that ends. And maybe once that is done, those white hats behind the scene can clear up the rest. Maybe. So I'm not sure what order that happens, guys. I don't know. I just don't know. I have to deal with reality, with what I see in front of me. I mean, it's who I am. Okay. Let me see if I can find more questions. When will the report of the cost of the emergency? Okay, yeah. Yeah, could you imagine? Could you imagine the overtime? And again, I go back to those tweets earlier of these cops laughing about filling their bank accounts, while other people are having their bank accounts frozen for no good reason. And no, this is how ridiculous this all is. Peaceful protesters are having their bank accounts frozen, and of course, the state and the jackboots are getting overtime for it. Again, that's the supposed democracy here in Canada. Make of that what you will. And again, if you can agree or not agree with the truckers, you can agree or not agree with the mandates, and you can make your own choices as to what injectables you want to put in your body. That's perfectly fine. But that's the point. You have that right. And right now, a big portion of Canadians have just had their rights suspended with no legal process and with no regard to the Charter of Rights. And this is the gaslighting. It's kind of like, I'm going to punch you in the face. You're going to be bloody. You'll have a bloody nose. And I'm going to tell you, as I just punched you in the face, oh, no, I didn't punch you in the face. And then I'll punch you in the face again. And I'll say, no, it wasn't me. I didn't punch you in the face. That doesn't really hurt. That's not blood coming down your lip. So that's what's happening right now. They're telling us that they're going to respect the charter, yet you just saw those police officers earlier today again suspend free press here in Ottawa, on top of everything else, suppressing our movement, our right to gather, to assemble, and free speech, all of that stuff. So again, this is just go read your Charter of Rights. Very interesting document. I did post it a couple of times on my Twitter. Every Canadian should be reading that right now and understanding what their actual rights are. And not what the media is telling you. Because again, they keep telling you it's unlawful and illegal. They keep saying that, but yet they're not saying how and why that is, other than them saying that. But we did have a court instance where there was evidence brought to the court, and a court, an elected official, weighed in on that evidence and produced a decision. And that was a week ago when the judge said, no, those protesters are allowed to be there and you need to give them back their gas cans, right? So that's the reality of our legal process. What's happening now, where everybody's parroting the fact that these are illegal demonstrations, that has yet to be that version of the fact has not yet passed muster or has not had its day in court. And so that's the frustrating part for most Canadians here. Hit the like button. Yeah, thank you, JC. Support you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let me see if I can find more questions. Okay, so we're 33 minutes in. When Cliff High, Crypto Nana? I don't know. Cliff is busy, man. And he said something the other day too. I maybe did added to the confusion. I know he's busy and he's dealing with a lot of stuff, but I thought it was one thing, but apparently there's more of other stuff going on. So go check out his last BitChute. I didn't mean to add to the confusion. I'm just like crazy busy here too. And I understood from he's very cryptic in some of his emails sometimes. And I'm so busy myself too that I didn't get the nuance of what he was dealing with. But essentially, yeah, he's a busy guy and dealing with some ramifications of friends, families who might have taken the injectables and suffered ill effects of that, and perhaps have left the earth plane altogether. So we're all dealing with that. And Cliff is a busy guy too on BitChute, and he does a lot already for humanity. And he's not a spring chicken anymore, so you have to give him a lot of credit. So he's welcome on the show anytime. I've tried to get him in on the last couple of days too, and a couple of show concepts I want to bring to his attention. So hopefully we can find some pockets of time, but at the same time, I respect him so much and his energy, and I just have to do what I do. And if he can come on, he'll come on, just like everybody else. I mean, we're all doing our best here and putting our energy where we feel it is most needed. And we're all humans too. I think that's what most people here in the chat need to understand. We don't have the coffers of the mainstream media. We don't have the coffers of the government to be out here to do this. Still have to wash my dishes. I still have to bring the firewood in the house. I still have to take care of the kids. I still have to take care of my parents. Like all of these things, like everyone like you. And on top of that, do this and hold the line for the light here on YouTube. So we're all busy at that level. Have an extra peep review with okay, I just had yesterday actually. So we just yesterday, 2 days ago now, I recorded this pay-per-view with Jim Willie. It's on now, and the highlight from that, or the title, or the subtitle for that, is Justin Trudeau is the downfall of the cabal. So go check out that episode, available now. Very fascinating. And of course, Jim was in true form, his true self. Really, really cool show. I also recorded, yeah, that's poster there. And I also recorded on, I forget now, it's not even on the Insider Access Pass yet. I haven't had the opportunity to crunch the file and re-upload it for you guys. But I did record with Janine. This is part of the Janine Investigate series, a new episode with Julie from Maison Jupiter. And the title here is Starseed Envoys. And so we looked at the parallels from a lot of ET contactees who are reporting on this concept of starseed envoys. Fabulous show. And so we brought a lot of things together, a lot of different contexts, and we were asking the cards to validate and to further add to that conversation, because these starseed envoys, for the most part, are here for a specific mission, and they are being activated by the events that are happening around the world, including the one in the window behind me, but everywhere else around the world as well. So knowing and understanding perhaps your place in all of this, how that also relates to the 144,000. We did a show with that with Indigo Angel a couple of days ago. And just generally speaking, why you're here and why you chose to be here and to incarnate at this time. It is perhaps right now for this very critical moment. So this show on the Starseed Envoy hopefully can give you insights and clues to understand maybe the universe is knocking at your door right now for you to align with your own personal soul contract and mission. And you know, you might be seeing numbers on the clock, you might be having weird dreams, you might be, so all of these things right now might be your higher self, your star family, trying to wake you up gently here to the fact that you're supposed to go live with everything that's happening right now. So a really cool episode. Hopefully I could put that up in the next day or two. It'll depend here again on the reporting here, what's happening in Ottawa. I'm very event driven at this point. I'm trying to stay flexible as much as I can to report here, because this I'm from Ottawa. It's in my backyard. I have a huge interest in being here and trying to share reality and the truth with you guys. So anyways, we'll see here in the next couple of days. If I have time today, I'll at least maybe put it up for the Insider Access Pass members. That's the fastest way. Putting up the products and the pay-per-view is a little bit more difficult there here to do that remotely, but I think I'll be able to at least put that up for the Insider Pass guys. So again, a big thank you to you guys, Insider Access Pass members. You make it possible for me to be here. You absolutely do. And you made it possible for me to survive all the deletions on YouTube and on Patreon, being demonetized still here on this YouTube channel. It's because of you guys. So a big thank you. And for those of you who are wondering what that is, the Insider Access Pass membership on BeyondMystic.net is basically a backstage pass to all of our uncensored content and episode. Not the courses. The courses are standalone products, and I'm developing Beyond Mystic Academy. We're going to have more courses there as it pertains to finance, astrology, tarot, meditation, Kundalini awakening. This is a big new venture that is coming up on Beyond Mystic, and it's going to be something like the Beyond Mystic Academy. So that's coming up. But in terms of the Insider Access Pass, you have access to all of this. What you're seeing on the screen here, the Jim Willie episodes, the all the ET stuff, the remote viewing episodes, the Beyond Crypto Woo, which is a really powerful series that are helping people navigate and invest in cryptocurrencies. The same thing here with the Astro Woo Finance. Right now, that one's on sale still. SAVE33 is the coupon code. The Astro Woo Finance goes even deeper than the Beyond Crypto. The Beyond Crypto will give you the general directions of the markets in crypto. We look at different cryptos, gold and silver. We track the events in time and try to pull all of that in together with some tarot reading. Whereas the Astro Woo Finance, it really looks at your astrology, your two signs, your ascending sign or your sun sign, and it tells you which house are being affected every month here. So for some people, looking at this personalized zodiac guide on your finances, it might touch your home, your real estate, it might touch your business, it might touch your cryptocurrencies. And so having a little bit more insight here as to where the energies are supporting you it gives you that extra oomph to make some of these decisions here, to diversify yourself out of the old system and into the new and create that abundance for you guys. So the Astro Woo Finance, yeah, I really love that new product. It was originally going to be a standalone product, but we did actually put it in and include it in the Insider Access Pass membership. So really, really cool stuff in there. Please do go check that out. And of course, too, if you want to support Julie there, go check her out at maisonjupiter.com. Because in order to get the maximum out of these episodes, the Astro Woo Finance, it's important to know your own personalized birth charts and where all of your star placements are, so that you can kind of follow along as we go through these 2.5 hour shows here, putting all this information together with you guys. So yeah, so maisonjupiter.com is the website, and their coupon code is BeyondMystic. And the coupon code will work on 2 different products, either your personalized birth chart, which again will help you navigate a lot of these shows. Now we're adding a lot more astrology as we're getting into the age of Aquarius and how we're reporting on the show here. We're bringing more astrological information into view for you guys. So having your own personal chart really helps you a lot there. And also the coupon code will work for the tarot readings with Sophie. So that'll give you another 10% off of these personal bookings with Sophie. And I think right now she might have 1 or 2 spots left for March, and she's booking into April. And what's happening too is people book their first, since we've had Sophie on the show a couple of times, people book the first session, and right away after the session, they're booking a second and a third one. That's how much she's popular, and people absolutely love her services. And that's why the calendar is filling up very, very quickly. So if you guys want to try that out, I recommend you do so sooner than later. So again, maisonjupiter.com, and a big thanks to Julie for helping me while I'm here on remote location running these slides in the back there as my producer. She does an amazing job. So please give her a lot of love in the chat and let her know you guys appreciate what she does, and also being on the show with all of this amazing information. So big thank you to you, Julie. Okay, I think I'll leave it for now. I'm going to try to go get a bite to eat. I'm going to explore where I can here again today, but the zones where we can walk have been limited, because right now, yesterday, you could kind of sneak by just above my finger here and get into that zone. But right now, all of that, since last night, they've erected these huge 12-foot fences there. And so I'm not sure, even just getting out of my hotel on that side, how far I can leave right now. So it is very much a Hotel California. You can check in, but you can't check out. Really, really interesting times we live in. So I'll get a bite to eat. I'll see what I can report from the ground there. I'll talk to other reporters who are here in the hotel room. Some of them are packing up today, I saw earlier in the lobby this morning. So I'll see if I can talk to them too and see what their gut feeling is here moving into this evening and tomorrow. And I'll report that a little bit later, either this afternoon in a separate clip or at 8 o'clock here. Please do join us at 8 o'clock Eastern with Joe, Richard, Woo Woo Dude, and Janine. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And do please remember to like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube channel here. And comment below. Like, all of these algorithms, they really help share this message. They really, when you click that like button and you share, and when you comment below, it really helps out a great deal. And right now, this is the fight that we're in. We have to continue sharing the light here across the world. So please help me by doing that, and that's at no cost to you, subscribing and hitting that notification bell. And also, just because on Twitter a lot of our tweets seem to disappear, please also remember to go check out my Telegram channel, t.me /BeyondMystic or Beyond_Mystic. I'm not sure if we have that on the slide deck, but it's in the description box of my videos as well. So go check out my Telegram, subscribe to that. There you'll see more content that for some reason keeps disappearing off of Twitter. All right, guys, I gotta let you go. And yeah, love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, take care. Au revoir.